easy, and it was so simple, and it was so effective because I passed the bar in one go. So this video is going to tell you how to do that, how to accomplish more in a day without burning out, because in as much as our goals are important, how we accomplish them is even more important, right? Because it's not just the goal, it's the journey to get there. Okay, and I used to be a person who couldn't even sit down for 5 minutes, okay, to study. It was always a battle. So for me to go from 5 minutes at a time to 8 hours straight, 8 hours Pomodoro sessions, then definitely something changed, and something changed for the better. So in the video, I will give you 4 tips to improve your study session so that it doesn't cause burnouts. I'm going to give you the systems that I used to ensure that I got more focused and effective work done in the same amount of time. Okay, and these tips, I assure you, if you implement them, it's going to be a game changer. Because the thing about us high achieving people is that we are prone to burnout. Okay, you're trying to do everything for everyone all the time in, I don't know, also manner of ways, and this makes you prone to burnout, right? Especially if you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing, right? So I'm going to give you the 4 tips, and then finally, for those who are still watching, they'll get the extra tip that ties in everything together. And in this tip is what this channel is about, okay? Because we talk a lot about the law of attraction and, you know, how to manifest things so that you as a person are becoming more, having more, being more, at the same time getting what it is you want. So the question is not what am I getting here, it's what am I becoming here. And I hope you become the best version of yourself, the happiest, most content, most at peace version of yourself. So let's go. So the first point that I will talk about is make a list of power-ups. Even before I set up this study system, this study container with the goal of passing the bar exam in one go, the first question I asked myself is, what is it gonna take for me to do this? How, me, Gloria, as a person, how do I work? So the first thing I needed to do was write down a list of power-ups, things that make me feel really good, so that when I am not studying, when I am relaxing, I can fall back on these things. And the reason I had to make a list is because I don't want to face decision fatigue. Because sometimes when you have so many choices, you'll fall back to the bad habits, or you'll fall back to whatever is in front of you. But if you have a list, you can easily just go to it and pick a thing, right? So I have a list of power-ups, and this is also scientific based on the book Super Better. You can check it out. She talks extensively about power-ups. So the first rule of power-ups is that, for me, during this study container, is that it had to be something that made me feel really good. But the second rule was that it had to be something that wasn't addictive. For me, TikTok, I love it, but it's addictive. Like, I can scroll for hours. That's why I had to set a boundary around that, a container around that for this season, because exam season is a short season. It was only a month and a half that I had to do this. That for this season, I'm gonna let go of the TikToks, of the YouTubes, of the social media, because I need a clear space. I need that space to study, and I needed something that's not so addictive. So for my list, the things that were still fun and made me feel really good but not addictive was Candy Crush, classical music, doing Zumba dancing, and stretching. Then for snacks, fruit, talking to my family, things like that were on the list, right? So whenever I would take a break, I would listen to classical music, or I would play Candy Crush. And then whenever I would take a break, I would stand up and stretch, because the movement was part of my power-up list. So you do that. You make a list of those things that are power-ups for you and are not addictive, especially if you need to get things done within a short amount of time. If you have a deadline, if you have a goal that needs accomplishing, and you need to create this space without burnout, then you're gonna have to have that list. The second tool that I used, and the second tip, is the Pomodoro method, okay? When I say I studied for 8 hours, I mean I studied for 8 hours. It's not just, lip service. It's not just sitting down and, doing other things and, getting distracted and not actually studying. No, I use the Pomodoro method. The Pomodoro method is basically you study for 25 minutes and then you take a break for 5 minutes. And this has been tested scientifically and all that. But for me, I had to tweak it to my own benefit because I realized a 5-minute break is not enough for me, and 25 minutes is not enough for me. So I made it 50 minutes studying and 10 minutes break. So I would study for 50 minutes and then take a break for 10 minutes, so that's 1 hour. And I did 8 sessions of this, so 8 hours a day. So I would study, complete focus, no phone, no distractions, just focusing on the task that I'm doing. And then when my 10 minutes came, I would do the things on my list. I would stand up, I would stretch, listen to classical music, play some Candy Crush, waiting for the next session, getting excited for the next session. And I could do that from 9 to 5. That is how I did the 8-hour study sessions. If you want to tweak this Pomodoro method, we can use the time and space container. When you decide you're going to do something, give yourself time to do that, and then remove all distractions and do the thing, and then give yourself a break afterwards. And whatever you'll do for your break is in your list of power-ups. You see how it works together? The third thing that I did was to make a to-do list or a timetable. For me, a timetable was more feasible in this case because I had 9 subjects to study. So I made a timetable so that every Monday I'm studying this, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, like that, so that I know exactly what I'm studying, and to reduce decision fatigue, because decision fatigue was one way I would get out of doing stuff, right? Doing work and studying. So because I had a timetable that had taken into account all the 9 subjects, I didn't have any excuses, and I would just get right into it. The same thing for a to-do list. If you have the things that you need to do, for example, tasks at work, and you know you're gonna have a busy day ahead of you, and all these distractions, it may help to have like the 3 priorities, the 3 main things that you want to do that day, and then you do them, right? So make a to-do list or make a timetable, whatever works for you. Just set a time and space container. My final tip, the 4th tip, is automate. I had systems in place before I even put this whole studying agenda into business. I already had habits. Okay, I already had habits about my schoolwork, I had habits about my fitness, I have habits about everything, because I'm a firm believer of the secret of your life is in your daily routine. So because I had these habits in place, I still maintained them. Like the one non-negotiables: showering every day, getting ready every day. I would get ready and get everything set up and then start studying. Okay, reading my personal development books every day. I always talk about this. It's one of the single most important habits you can implement right now that will change your life. So reading personal development books, moving my body, whether it's going for walks, whether it is doing Zumba, all of that, to make sure that the blood in my body is moving, there's no stagnation, okay, that I am free, I'm in my feminine energy, even as I am very much so in my masculine energy. So doing all these things made sure that even if I was doing this study system, this whole study container, this for the bar exam, I was still able to maintain those good habits that made me feel good and maintained my well-being. That's why in the previous video I said you have to make sure to automate your quadrant 2 habits. Your quadrant 2, which means the things that are important but they're not urgent, so they're easily forgettable, right? Things like working out, things like sleeping on time. Those things are important but they're not urgent, right? So if you don't prioritize them and make them into habits, then it's easy to forget and just fall into old patterns of bad habits. So I hope you learned something from that. Now for the special tip, for those who are still watching, the special tip is gratitude. Let me tell you, if you feel terrible about this whole thing, if you feel terrible about your goals, if you feel terrible about having to study this amount of hours, to focus for this amount of hours, it's definitely going to cause burnout, because burnout is an accumulation of stress, like long-term stress. And having chronic stress about something means that thing is, you're not vibing with it, you're rejecting it. So it's causing friction, it's causing resistance in you, right? So for example, if I was, woe is me, I have to study for the bar exam, people are forcing me to study for the bar exam, I just have to do this because, the economy is bad. Come on. Of course you'd feel burnout. But if I woke up every day and I'm like, God, thank you that I get to be a lawyer, I get to be in the school of law, I have my fees is paid, I get to be here, I get to try to, so many people want this opportunity but they can't afford it. It's me who chose to be here, and it's me who chose to study. I am so grateful, God, for this opportunity. It's a completely different shift. If you read the book The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal, she talks about this a lot. Just changing your mindset about something can change the way your body reacts to it. So if somebody feels that stress is bad and stress is negative, then their body reacts differently to somebody who's like, yes, I'm stressed, but this is a good thing, you know? Their body creates different reactions chemically. So if you tell yourself that in this situation that you feel bad, you feel terrible, all these negative emotions are coming up that you've not dealt with, and all these limiting beliefs are coming up, then you will not have the same experience as me, who's just happy to be here, happy to have this experience, happy to try and see my capabilities. I'm like, wow, I can study for 8 hours a day. That is amazing, Gloria, you're doing so well. And that, you know, the reason I can be like this is because I practice gratitude every day. For a whole year, in 2017, I think, I made sure in my gratitude journal to write 3 things I'm grateful for, and I would expand on it. I am so grateful for the opportunity to go to school. I am so grateful for the food I ate today. I'm so grateful for my family members. I'm surrounded by loving and supportive people. I am so grateful for the clothes I'm wearing, that I can even afford them, that I'm well clothed, that I can spend money on things like nail polish and accessories. Some people don't have that. My life is somebody's dream life. And the thing about gratitude is, like, it's going to change your perspective. It's going to make you an optimist, and it's going to change that situation that appears negative to some people into something good, into something positive. So I hope you learned from this video, and yeah, bye.